Hey everyone, David here. So, welcome to episode 4 of the University College of London build. I've been a little blocked for this project and somewhat overwhelmed, so I got on with another build, replicating the Windermere building in Hell's Kitchen, which was so much fun. And so after my brain break of that one, almost a palate cleanser if you will, I've realised my problem with continuing on with UCL build is that the complex is really big, like huge and intimidating. And that wouldn't be a problem if it weren't for the fact that most of the rest of the builds is big, but architecturally speaking, much less interesting from here on inwards. Most of the buildings are kind of square with no extra sort of flary bits and towers or fun details that are really hard to replicate in Minecraft, so less challenging, I guess. I get bored with just doing walls. It's really boring. So I came up with a solution. What I'm going to do is I'm going to finish the bits that are connected to the main quad, like the dome behind that, and some of the buildings. Some of the buildings around this part, so this bit doesn't have any like floors or walls or a dome, so I'll finish those bits. Just the bits that need finishing, like right now. This part doesn't have floors or anything as well, but just the bits that I've got, and then I will start figuring out how to meld the UCL campus with my old campus at Waikato University, which is going to be really interesting, like in good and bad ways, because the architecture is completely different. This is sort of ancient, semi-Roman sort of vibe, whereas Waikato is very modern, sort of interesting, but in a totally different way. So that should sort of keep me focused and not totally intimidated, because it's at least interesting and hard enough, to... What I like is the puzzles, the architectural puzzles of trying to replicate things in Minecraft that are in real life. One bonus is with the addition of the Waikato Uni campus stuff, which will probably go sort of this direction, including a park, I will also be able to have the canon locations in TSU, actually in the game. So if I finally figure out how to do good filming in Minecraft, maybe I can do the Journer's Notebook scenes here on the campus. So we'll see what happens. Anyway, I shall cue the music and you can see a montage of me zipping about fixing things. just standing here looking at this. It's not a bad dome, but it looks rather phallic, don't you think? And I'm still not sure if the dome's right. I keep looking at it and scrolling around it, and it just doesn't do it. I think maybe it's a bit too tall below the windows, I don't know. And it is absolutely definitely squint in the wrong part of the building. It's actually supposed to be a little further this way. I checked on Google Maps. Got my proportions all wrong with the frames and everything. But that's okay. There is this really neat function called clone function, and I should be able to move it, but I still don't like it. It's just not quite right. But that's okay. We learn as we grow, and we, grow up, and we learn, and we figure new things out, figure out what we've been doing wrong. It is a pretty cool view though. Oh, that was the other reason why I think it's a little squint. this is the wall that leads out to the outside with the pillars and stuff. And from what I understand of the real UCL quad, you can see the whole dome when you're standing, I think it's probably about here-ish, at level with this door. See the whole dome, and there's this bit here that, so I may have to move the whole thing, what, 4 meters this way. So it's not perfect, but considering I both love and hate domes, I think it was pretty well done. From here, I am going to fix the gardens, well, at least the simple parts of the gardens inside the quad. And I think that will probably be enough stuff for this episode. I was going to do more building fronts, but my scale's wonky and I have to figure it out. It's going to take time. So we shall do another montage of me fixing the courtyard, the main quad, grass and paths and stuff like that. And I'm going to attempt, I'm just starting to learn how to texture things. See, I usually just do everything with one block, and it's just the way it is. But apparently that's boring to other Minecrafters, so I'm going to try and do a texturing of the pathways, so it's not all one block. We'll see how well that goes. I'm told the best way to do it is just to randomly do it, so I'll give it a go and see what happens. So, cue the music again. Alright, back again. So that final bit of me trying to do the detailed driveway and pathways and stuff, I actually started off using this block, which is actually a dead coral block, but it's actually sort of purple at a distance, and even hopefully, well, I can see it in the video, but in the replay mod video, it's just the wrong color, so I had to replace it. It was just going to be that plus the stuff which is cracked stone brick, but I did what they said and just randomly clicked using the normal stone bricks and the cracked stone bricks and the mossy ones. The mossy ones were just to add a little bit sort of extra colour. And I think for a first go, I think green there might be a bit too much green, but, or like, I think maybe the green needs to be sort of ordered so it looks like where water has gone. I don't know. But I think for a first go at trying to add texture, as I believe they use the term, to concrete pathways and stuff, I think it's actually done pretty well. I will probably and inevitably fiddle, but I do that. Nothing's ever perfect in this game. So I'm quite happy with what I did for that, and if you actually go up at a distance, it's surprisingly more interesting. I actually haven't previously liked the different ways people have textured surfaces. I actually like clean walls like this. And I know it's boring, but I like that cleanness. But that surface, it actually, as you roll your camera over it, as you view, it actually looks like it's a well-worn surface. So I guess that's accomplished what it's meant to. The other thing was, at the beginning of the last bit of video, you probably noticed that I tried to fill this bit in sort of with an orangey block. In the real one, in the real campus, this bit is a driveway, which is why it's a different colour and stuff. And it's sort of like made out of ochre or something. It's clayish kind of colour. But there's nothing clayish coloured that doesn't really visually clash with the grey of the stone. See, these are all the different kinds of stone blocks. You've got the cobbled bricks, stone bricks, and then you've got just actual stone. And this, I think, is andesite. And there's quite a few of blocks in this sort of range of colours. I mean, even the basalt is the same sort of shade-ish of all of the stone, but all of the reddish tones, they were just like too orange or too brown, and it just looked awful. So it's back to being stone. So it's not as accurate as I wanted it to be, but I think it looks better, so that's okay. Now I've got two main things left to do, other than gentle, putting in the occasional window that's missing and doors and stuff. There's actually two small observatories either side, sort of here-ish on both sides. And there's some massive trees, particularly sort of close to these sticky outy bits, sort of in here and over here as well. Now, this is what sort of random generated trees look like. They're perfectly fine for either side of a path, but they're kind of boring. And the ones in real life are old and stretchy outy, and they make a great shape and they look nice. I like this shape, particularly this one over here that's quite lovely. And the problem is doing doing trees by hand is firstly hard, and secondly not something I'm particularly good at. So both the observatory and the tree, or trees plural, I'm going to have to sort of design in my design world and then bring it into this world when I think I've got it working. The biggest problem with the observatory is it's probably only sort of this wide, from here to here wide, square, or sphere, I guess. This is a small observatory. It's kind of 10 to 15 meters, I think, square. And it's really hard to make a dome at that scale. Really hard. So I'm going to have to work hard to figure out how to do the observatories, and I'm going to have to work hard to do the trees. If I can figure out the trees, I'll actually replace these ones too, because these are enough. They're green enough, but the trees in front of these two ends in real life are actually quite pretty, and it would be nice to sort of add that too. But yeah, I'm not very experienced at making trees by hand. I'm going to have to do some watch some YouTube tutorials and stuff like that to figure out how to do it. So far, all the ones I've found are like, just do it, like, too much, and then trim it. And I said, well, that doesn't help. I guess, though, it was right about the randomness of detailing. But both of these things are going to take time and planning. I can't just do them, like, in a day's work or something. It's going to take design, and it's going to take me swearing, and many, especially with the trees, many versions that I hate. So I'm going to put those on hold for a little while and come back to them later. For the next episode, I'm going to focus on adding the facades to the bits that are already outlined and done, like that wall there specifically. So I'll be putting in the facades on the bits that need doing in these areas. And I'll be doing the floors off camera because they're very boring to watch. They're very boring to, do. You can do floors all day and all you've done is one section. And after that, I'm going to have to start figuring out how to integrate the UCL main quad area, with Waikato campus. I still haven't figured it out. It's going to take time. So I'm going to need other shortish projects to let my brain sort of rest, to figure these things out and to do some research. So if you have any ideas, any one building ideas, not an entire complex idea, like smallish projects like the Windermere, if you have any suggestions, let me know in the comments, or Twitter me, or email me if you've got that address, and I'll have a go, because I sort of stumble on these things randomly. I don't know how it works, how I find them. They just sort of jump out of the internet and go, oi, build me. It's a very anthropomorphic statement, but that's okay. So if you have an idea, let me know, and I'll have a go. This is obviously going to be a very long-term project, and I kind of expected that, but I didn't realize it was going to be this long. But that's okay. The longer the project, the more awesome it's going to be when it's done. So that should be fun. But for now, I'm going to go to bed. So, spent all day editing and stuff. So, until next time, ara ni tasa.